Week 19 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I look to drop this week. The first guy, Beatty of the New York Mets. So a lot of hype about him. One of the top prospects in the Mets system here coming into the year. And he's been tearing it up in the minor leagues, no doubt about it, this season is Beatty. And in his first career at bat last week, hit a home run. But ever since then, he hasn't done nothing. So far in his MLB career, 3 for 24. 1 home run, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored, a 125 average, and a 222 on base. So right now, we know Eduardo Escobar's hurt, but I think he's going to come back sooner than later. Luis Gamore, he's out another 2 or 3 weeks here. But if Beatty's not going to be hitting the baseball and defense having some lapses over there, he's not a guy that's going to stay in the major leagues that long here, and it might have been a premature call-up for the Met team. So the last few games here for him since he got called up: August 17th at Atlanta, like I mentioned, 1 for 4 with a homer, 2 RBIs. August 18th at Atlanta, 1 for 3. August 19th at Philly, 1 for 3, 2 RBIs. August 20th at Philly, 0 for 7 with a run. August 21st at Philly, 0 for 5 with a run. And August 22nd at the Yankees, 0 for 2. So right now, Brett Beatty struggling mightily here, 0 for his last 14. He's a young guy. They called him up too early, I believe. Yeah, he hit a home run in his first career at bat. But like I mentioned, with Escobar coming back around the corner and Gamore in the next few weeks, if Beatty don't start getting things going, he's going to be sent back down to the minor leagues. And right now, he was a premature pickup in fantasy leagues. A lot of people ran out there and got him after hitting that home run. But right now, he's just a guy not getting the job done, and he's not having great at-bats. Yeah, he's putting the ball in play, not striking out a lot, only 6 times in 24 at-bats. But right now, he's not getting great contact, and he's been struggling over the last 4 or 5 games, and he's a hitter I would drop this week. The next guy, Marcelo Ozuna of the Atlanta Braves. So Ozuna, he got arrested on Friday, and I'm surprised he's in this Brave lineup here and not suspended or whatever the case may be, but he's been struggling of late as Ozuna. I know he's got 20 home runs on the season, 46 RBIs, 50 runs scored, a 213 average, and a 262 on base, but he's just not cutting it. And the last month of the season, he's been non-existent. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 7 runs scored, a 171 average, and a 181 on base. So Ozuna, I think the writing is on the wall for him with this Atlanta Brave team. And even for fantasy baseball, he's pretty much just a power guy, and that's it. And to be honest, this Atlanta Brave team, they could probably just play Robbie Grossman in the outfield here, and your DH, William Contreras. I think that's the best route for this Brave team at this time. Robbie Grossman, he's had some big hits since they traded for him at the Major League trade deadline. And Marcelo Ozuna is pretty much not getting anything going or the job done, and still owned in 49% of fantasy leagues. So the last few games here for him: August 13th at Miami, 1 for 4 with a run. August 14th at Miami, 2 for 4. Then they sat him out a bunch of games. Then he got arrested. Then he returned to the lineup August 21st versus Houston, 0 for 2. And then last night's game at the Pirates, he didn't play. So right now, Ozuna, he's just a guy that this Brave team, they're dwindling away from, like I mentioned. Grossman's playing better baseball. William Contreras, you got to find the spot for him at DH every game in there, because he could just hit and catch as well. And right now, Ozuna's not getting the job done, so he's a hitter I would drop this week. He's not playing. He could be suspended at any time right now, and it's just easy dropping him and not dealing with Ozuna this season. The next guy is Trent Grisham of the San Diego Padres. I'm very surprised he's still owned in 40% of fantasy leagues. Here's Grisham. I know he's shown some power, but you can find power anywhere. He's not doing anything else really for this Padre team. 15 home runs, 47 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 50 runs scored, a 197 average, and a 300 on base. So right here, he's hitting under the Mendoza line. I know this Padre offense is stacked, but he's still not getting the job done. The last month of the season for Grisham: 5 homers, 13 RBIs, 13 runs scored, a 222 average. Good on base, though, at a 337, but he's not hitting for average. Yeah, he's showing some power, but he's not really known as a power guy as well. Last season, 15 home runs, and this season, 15 home runs. So right now, he's swinging for the fences more than anything is Grisham, and he's pretty much a home runner and out. The RBIs aren't high. He's not really stolen bases. Last year with 13, this year with 5. And he's just a guy we'll get away from right now in this Padre lineup. And he's a guy who also, his playing time has been cut back a little bit as well. August 15th in Miami, 0 for 2. August 16th in Miami, 0 for 4. August 17th in Miami, 0 for 3 with 2 runs. August 18th versus Washington, 0 for 4. August 19th versus Washington, 1 for 2 with a rib. August 20th versus Washington, 0 for 2. And August 21st pinched it in that one versus Washington, 0 for 1. So right now, he's pretty much not hitting the baseball, and he's not going to really help fantasy owners. It's surprising to me he's still owned in 40% of fantasy leagues here is Grisham. But he has been dropped in 3%. But right now, I definitely would drop him. Next guy's Patrick Wisdom of the Chicago Cubs. So Patrick Wisdom, he got off to the hot start early in the season. And now he's pretty much a power guy or a strikeout guy on the season. 22 home runs, 58 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, 59 runs scored, a 219 average, and a 314 on base. But over the last few weeks here for Wisdom, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, stolen base, 6 runs scored, a 216 average, and a 293 on base. And he's banged up as well now with a finger injury. So Wisdom, yeah, he's a good power hitter, but he's just not getting the job done, I believe, here, besides the power this season. Last year, he came up, he was hitting a little better for average, and he showed even crazier pop, where this season, the numbers are still good with 22 home runs, but everything else is pretty much non-existent for him in fantasy baseball, even though he's giving you some stolen bases with 7. So the last few games here for him, August 13th at the Reds, 1 for 4. August 14th at the Reds, 2 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs. August 15th at the Nats, 0 for 3. August 16th at the Nats, 1 for 5, a run and a rib. August 17th at Washington, 0 for 4. August 19th versus Milwaukee, 1 for 4, a homer, 2 RBIs. And August 20th versus Milwaukee, 1 for 4 with a run and a rib. So right now, he's gotten some RBIs over the last few games, but he's missed the last 2 games here with the finger injury. And we'll see if he plays in any of the doubleheader ball games here today versus the St. Louis Cardinals. Here's Patrick Wisdom. So Wisdom right now struggling, not doing much for fantasy owners except some power. And I would drop him here in 10-team leagues for sure is Wisdom. And the 5th and final hit I look to drop Javier Baez of the Detroit Tigers. So what a train wreck season here for Baez after leaving the New York Mets in free agency, going to Detroit. And it's looking like a good decision by the Mets here on the season. 11 home runs, 45 RBIs, 43 runs scored, 7 stolen bases, a 222 batting average, and a 264 on base. So Baez, it's been a terrible season for him in Detroit. And this is the first year of a 6-year contract, even though I know he has an opt-out after a few seasons. And runs, 9 RBIs, 10 runs scored, 4 stolen bases in the last month, a 233 average and a 279 on base. So right here, the only thing he's really doing is stealing bases. The power is way down. And we know Baez, he's always been a low batting average type of hitter, even though last season, 265 was definitely solid for Baez, but the power's way down. He's usually a 25 to 30 home run hitter. And this season, he's probably going to finish anywhere with 15 to 18. So total bust this season he's been in fantasy baseball. And he's a guy still owned in 84% of fantasy leagues. But right now, he's not really helping teams out. And I don't see him breaking out of a season-long slump with a month left in the season pretty much. I would drop Baez as well. And if he does get hot, yeah, you go out there and pick him up. But the signs aren't there. He'll get hot. Not much protection in that lineup in Detroit. And it's definitely been a lost season for him. So that's a few hitters I look to drop here for Week 19 of the fantasy baseball season.